Ben, are you there?
Yeah, I'm back again. Yeah, I don't know what.
How very strange. Okay, well, we'll try and persevere. Are you okay to share your? Well, I don't know if you want to share your screen or what you've got in mind, but
yeah,
please go ahead. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, no worries. So that you can see that. So yeah, thank you very much for having me along. And then I'm just going to go through sort of this presentation, just three sort of ideas and three ways you can get more business from Facebook. So just to give you a little bit of idea of sort of who we are and who I Want Fish and Chips is. So I started out at University of Lincoln and did marketing, and then sort of progressed from there, working for companies like John Mills Limited, which was a video production company that sold some great products, and then moved on to Local World or Northcliffe Media, so working in print, and then moved into digital marketing thereafter. So we started the company in 2014, so it'll be our 7th birthday in April, actually. So yeah, it's gone quite quickly, really. Two of us within the business, we're a husband and wife partnership, so it makes for interesting at times, but it also makes for a great relationship for working with clients. As I Want Fish and Chips, the main thing we do is social media management, so it's looking after businesses' social media channels, be that Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and also the websites as well. We do social media advertising, so paid for advertising, content creation, and then digital marketing consultancy and project management for some certain companies. So the first way we're going to look at is to get started and engage. A lot of businesses, when they come to us, it's then the idea side of it or what they want to do whilst they're posting on social media. So the easiest tip to do is just to get started, is get your name out there. So it's posting interesting things on facts, photos, questions, asking your audience different things to get them engaged in conversation. By doing things like that, what you're going to start to do is build trust with that audience. So it shows that then you are knowledgeable within your area of what you are doing, and make you an industry leader or a thought leader on that. So that helps to build that trust and rapport, because then once you've built that trust with the audience, you can then start to sell to those people, because then they know, like, and trust you, and they'll value what you're giving as a service. Works exactly the same in the physical world, when we can go back to, say, like networking. You are building that trust, you are building and showing your knowledge and expertise, and then that person will then come to you for that service. So to give you one example, this was an organic post that we did for a client. So within their sort of industry, it's a security industry, so it can be quite serious a lot of the time. So we decided to look at something like this, which is a picture of a dog basically running into some leaves. I'll quickly show you how the video went. Simple as that, really, but people found it entertaining and engaging, because one, that they do have security dogs which they use for their service, but as you can see there, the organic reach on that was big, considering their audience is like 2,000. And then also, even though, like I say, it was posted the 11th of May, it was still getting shares and engagement and interaction December time last year. So utilizing this kind of content, yes, it will go out at the time the audience will see it, but also then it's been then shared later on. So it's still then getting cover and exposure for the business. Let's get to the next one. So number 2 is Facebook advertising, which is an interesting subject for a lot of people. But again, it's a great way to target specific audiences on that channel or network for that demographic of your business. So then the different types of adverts that you can do, like, so you can see there, so you've got post engagement, instant experience, video, offers, lead generation ads, page likes. There's all those different formats that you can use. And you can also, which you'll see from your page, is that then Facebook will encourage you to boost a post. So there's always the eternal debate whether running what you would call a dark ad, so then it's only an advert that the people that you've selected to see that advert will see, and that boosting a post isn't a great way of doing a Facebook ad. But we've seen mixed results from it. So I'll give you an example of one client that we've done a lead generation advert with, but then also from just boosting a post, again with a business coach. So we did a specific targeted ad, a dark ad for a business coach, and it didn't get any signups for the webinar. We boosted a post just from their feed and probably spent around about £20, I think it was, so not a big spend, and it got 10 signups. So the main thing with Facebook ads is to test, because sometimes one thing might not work, but then at the same time, something that just trying something different will work for you. So the example for the Facebook ad, basic brief of then to generate more leads for first-time buyers at a lower cost than the previous campaigns that they'd run. So what we did is look at the different sort of creative that can be produced for it. And then that was then to specifically get on a lead form the client's name, telephone number, and email address. And then from it, the result was that the cost per lead was £1.94, and we managed to get that down to £1.51 per lead. So these are examples of the adverts that we ran for the client. So again, it's just to have that different message, or the graphic that then promotes that call to action, that promotes that person that's going to come to you, and then give their details across. So out of those three adverts, the one that worked the best and still converts the best is the graphic on the left hand side, just a simple one that just says first time buyer. Whereas then from our point of view, from a marketing company, we would love the graphics, because you're kind of promoting that new house feeling, all that kind of stuff that goes alongside of that emotion. But I was quite lucky, not long after we'd launched the campaign, I did a guest lecture at Bishop Grot University at Lincoln to some first year students, business and marketing students there were, and used this example to them. And the biggest thing that they said, and they all picked the first time buyer graphic, and the reason why was because they didn't have to think, they knew what it was about, and that was the main reason why. They just didn't have to think. So again, look at when you're targeting your adverts, who is your audience, and relating it that way, because then from my point of view, I'm mid-30s, so can I class myself as a millennial? Those emotional graphics or the emotional images would make me do, or make me act. Whereas then the younger ages, they just preferred that because there was less time for them to actually register anything, and they didn't have to think what they were doing. And finally, the third one, quite a simple one, but some people do and don't do it. So is run a competition or contest. So you can do these, which are great for local businesses. So however you want to structure it, because in the past, with Facebook's policies, you couldn't run that if you were doing, like a like and share competition. It was against their policy to do it, but they have relaxed that. So you can do it along that side. It increases engagement, it increases the reach and the sort of exposure of the page. But what the main thing you have to think about if you're running a competition or like contest in that way is the after effect of it, or what you're trying to achieve from it. If you just want it to go out and you're getting more reach from it, then that's fine. But you have to have that process behind it. Again, especially for like a local business, because then if you're doing a competition, and it's going to be in like the actionable steps afterwards, is that target somebody that is either a client or another local business that has a a good following or has good engagement on social media. So then you're going to sort of piggyback on their audience. But at the same time, when you do the competition, look at then messaging those people. So if it isn't, say, for example, a like and share competition, you get them to then comment on the post. You have a small time frame then that you can create a one-on-one conversation with that person. So even simply just messaging them saying, thank you very much for entering our competition. We really appreciate you doing it. Until we announce the winner, here's £5 off this, or here's a 10% discount on this, or something like that. So at least then you're giving them some other value if they don't win the competition. So once you've done that, you've also then opened a channel of communication with that person. So you can then market to them in future, and yeah, hopefully get them as a client. So again, here's an example of one of the competitions that we ran. So it's with the security company again, and they picked a local business to then buy a £50 voucher from. And again, it went very well because the nature of the competition, the other business that they partnered with was a long-standing business. So it creates that goodwill again, like we kind of like mentioned before at the start, of then building that trust with the audience. If you're then partnering with another business that has got a good reputation or is long-standing, then it's going to help your business no end. We also did, I'll come to that in a second. So just again, show you like when we launched the competition was here, and then you can see then the increase in the engagement so you've got those tangible results that come, you can see the cause and effect of what the campaign or what the competition does. To give another example of one of the competitions, we did it where we were giving away one of their own products. So giving an alarm, a basic alarm system away. So again, even utilizing your own products to then give to your audience. Again, it's showcasing what products that you've got that people might want to use. But again, with the follow-up, when that person then got their prize, the alarm, there's then the opportunity then for the upsell. So then when that person came and collected their prize, just politely kind of said, well, yes, you've got your alarm, but would you be interested in it being monitored every single month? The guy just said yes straight away. So then again, that's then created, so whatever the cost of the alarm was, but then the exposure from it, but then he's also then got a customer from it just by giving away a simple thing like that. So I think one of the big sort of points with the competition side of it is making sure that you think about that follow-up or the sort of the events around it that will then help get you more business from it. So I said that the actionable steps that you can take away for it is run a competition. So contact a client, contact another local business, search for them on Facebook, look for them on Instagram, however you want to do it. Agree a prize or a giveaway. So whether it's a mutual benefit of sort of giveaway or you purchasing something from them, get the photo. So again, going back to the original point one about getting started and engaging, photos with either the business owner in or people in, those photos work well from an engagement point of view because it's you and your business. And then launch the competition. But like I kind of said there before, is always remember that once you start then the competition, make sure you then get that message to those people, because then if you message those people, you've got that one-on-one relationship with them, and then you've got the opportunity then to upsell to them that way. And that's it, short and sweet. Are we doing questions, John, or do you...
Yeah, but Ben, thanks very much for that. It was really interesting. I mean, if anybody's got any questions, there haven't been any questions in the Q&A panel so far, but you can either type a question in there if you've got one, or you should have a raise your hand button, and I can just enable your microphone and allow you to talk if you've got any. I mean, I had one, Ben, in a bit of a sort of in my other my other sideline, which is my other sideline. My sideline. I'm a bit of a musician on the side. I'm not sure if you were aware of that, Ben. And we've tried some Facebook advertising with the band, and the sort of the advice that we received, and it was from a sort of, it was from a music marketing specialist, but I guess the principles apply. And going back to your point about sort of testing reaction and stuff, was to, although with Facebook ads you can really target the delivery of your ad to whoever you want, really. So whether it be age group or interests or people in the music. In the music example, people who like this particular band or that particular band, or because Facebook knows everything about you, really. So you can really target it down. But that was the first step, and then the second step was to sort of review those results, and they had you creating what they call a lookalike audience. I think that's a Facebook term. So you basically then get your results. You see, have men aged 45 plus liked my music more than women aged 18 to 25, and the answer is yes to that. By the way, what do we then do with that? You pump that back into Facebook, and then Facebook will generate new audiences for you based on people who look like the kind of best cross section of your likes and interests. Is that, as I put that really badly, is that something you've done, and you got a sort of take on that?
Yeah, so the main way we've done it before is then, like say, driving it then to a website. So using the Facebook pixel, and then, like say, learning from that. It's always I was speaking to somebody last night. It's always that eternal debate of where it's great what data you have available from Facebook, but then also sometimes it kind of takes that mystery away from the creative and how that's targeting people. But again, it's like, say, it's at least you've gone in that stepped process of you've started off with that kind of like broader advert of then targeting people. You've then sort of narrowed it down and knowing that it is people, males 45 plus, that prefer to listen to the music or engage with the music, and then creating a new audience which is like those people with it. I suppose it's then looking at what the kind of the advert that you did alongside it, because then again, we used to work with a private hire cab taxi company a few years ago, and predominantly their audience was female on their Facebook page. So the main reason why is because of the security of what their service provides and the app that they had and how you could track things. And it was like I say, it was more female users and a female audience. So we decided to do a post on, and again, maybe this is me being a bit of a man, but do it on 50 Shades of Grey, because you would think it ticks that kind of box of the audience. It absolutely died a death. It just didn't even do anything.
Okay.
A post on Top Gear went crazy. So then again, I suppose it's looking at then they're probably more females that are interested in cars than they are in what I suppose like as a bloke you would kind of stereotypically think as an interesting subject for women that way. So again, it's
I thought it was interesting your point about the the people younger than millennials going for the simplest graphic, because it was less thinking time, because they're just more used than us, millennials plus.
It was, and then I saw obviously not on Facebook, but it was on LinkedIn, and there was a thread, and it was debating about when people send a connection request on LinkedIn. So when if I don't know the person, I would like you would expect, or you kind of see a welcome message or a little message asking why they would like to connect. If I've met them at physically, or I know of that person, then I would connect. But if I've never met them before, I don't know why they're connecting. It's just like basically them chucking a business card in my face, or like spamming. But interestingly, again, the person who started the feed off was, I think, about I know him, so he's probably, I think he's early 20s, mid 20s, and all the kind of younger, again, like the millennial side of it, they were happy to accept a connection request from anybody because they wanted the intrigue and mystery of knowing who it was and what they were going to talk about. Whereas anybody that seemed maturer or older, I think is a lot more experience, is that the better word of saying it, wanted the message to go to them because they wanted to know why that person was making contact with them. So I found that quite interesting, to be fair, because again, it's that thing of whether they just want, does that person just want an audience? They're just going to accept anybody and everybody, or do they want that meaningful relationship or that meaningful contact of why that person wants to sort of deal with them?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean, on the music, sorry, I should apologize to everybody for sort of hijacking the conversation and making it about the music side of things, but I mean, the challenge there was what we did was put a video on, and it was a video that sort of accompanied the song. But of course, what you want to do with music is you need people to listen to it. So you know, and mostly people have Facebook on mute. So you know, the challenge was to get them to unmute it and listen to it. So the tactic, again, I'd be interested in your perspective on this, but the tactic we adopted was a bit of a shock tactic in the headline, basically comparing ourselves to, you know, much more famous bands, with the idea that, you know, that people would try, you know, would want to listen to see whether that comparison was appropriate. Actually, most of the kind of interaction we got because of that was negative. So it was, you know, how dare you, sort of thing. But I suppose you could argue that it, you know, that it did get the reaction. And going back to your engagement point, or, you know, several of your engagement points really, we found that by engaging directly then with those people, we actually, you know, turned a few of them round, surprisingly, and they were then quite, you know, they were quite, I think they were quite surprised to be contacted personally, having, you know, just trolled somebody's Facebook post. But you know, a couple of those, I mean, you know, we're talking very small numbers in our case, you know, dozens rather than hundreds, but we did get a couple of new listeners that way. So you know, that leads to Spotify streams. So I'm about, you know, 3 pence a year better off because of it. So fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's that thing, like I say, because then you've got, whereas pre-social media, you rarely have that kind of one-on-one contact with your audience or your client, I suppose, or the prospective client. But then at least then from back from the music point of view, you've responded. So a lot of the time where if there is a negative or there is something that, I don't know, if it's a negative comment, most businesses might shy away from it. But at least, like you say, you've had that, and particularly I'm kind of guessing, like I say, I've got limited knowledge within the sort of music, I don't know, from a producing music point of view, but there's a lot of passion around it and a lot of emotion, because then the music that, say, you'll be producing, there'll be an emotion or a passion behind that. But then again, there's that emotion and passion behind those bands that you've linked to or you've compared to, because then it drives, the music is driving emotion. But at least, like I say, you've not shied away from having that engagement, or having that conversation.
No, absolutely. I've always thought, I mean, you know, not just on social media, but you know, in any kind of you know, real world channel as well. If you've got to deal with negative comments and, you know, complaints and stuff like that, you've got to deal with them head on, really. And it's how you deal with them that sets you apart from, you know, somebody who just ignores them. I mean, that leads on to one more question, and sorry everybody else, if you do have a question, you know, stick your hand up and I can switch your mic on. But if you know, in our case with the band, it was very, very, very small numbers, so it was easy to keep up with any engagement that you know, and potentially there were four of us to do it, and in fact, you know, it was fine. Didn't need anybody else apart from me. It was totally manageable. If you've got, you know, a much greater reach and level of engagement going on, I mean, how do you cope with that? Is it, I mean, is it just simply more hands on deck, or you got any advice on that?
It depends. There's different things. So you can look like, again, depending if it's from a messaging point of view, you can look at, say, something like a messenger bot, which handles that process. So if then somebody is putting a message through, so one we've done with the security side is that then they wanted it as almost like a live chat. So then at the end of the discussion, almost, the person is aware that they're dealing with the business, but at the end of it, it gets their name, email address, telephone number, address if they want for going on site, and then what they're interested in. So the user has that nice experience that they're being listened to and they're being talked to.
Mm-hmm.
The business hasn't, there's the investment of the messenger bot, but the business hasn't had to do much apart from they get the notification at the end, which is the details that they can then just follow up on. But again, it's process driven, depending on the volumes of messages. I know somebody I used to go to university with, he worked for EE in their like community department, and he looked after one blog, and there was 4 people within their team that managed it. But that's on EE scale, so it's national in that point of view. It is, yeah. It's a mixture of systems and processes. So whether it's like say a messenger bot or a form of social media software, but then there's also lots of tools within inside Facebook that then you can then manage and assign those people and do something with. It just
I mean, I would imagine you know, at that sort of level where you're getting tons of engagement, you know, every single day, it must be quite difficult to maintain an appropriate kind of tone, you know, when replying. I mean, because, you know, honestly, if you're a band and you get you know, one positive comment, it's like Nirvana, fantastic. We're famous, and that's lovely. But if you're dealing with it day in, day out, so yeah, okay, that's
as well. You've kind of got, and again, like now, because it's then part of mainstream life, is that people are aware that there still is that tone from the brand point of view, but also there are people behind the business. It's not just kind of like faceless, and like you'll see from, I don't know, like Wendy's on Twitter and stuff like that. Those kind of ones where they're, well, you wouldn't, from a business perspective, you wouldn't think that they would do it, but it's created a lot of PR. It's created a lot of controversy to a degree, but at the same time, it's got their name out there, and it's entertaining for people. Like the Weetabix one with beans, Heinz beans, like about a month ago, was it? So things like that, where it's then again, that's brands interacting with each other, of just doing something that's, well, it's it just looks wrong anyway, but it's still, like say, it's that engagement point of view.
Off the wall. I've been getting loads of Facebook ads on my stream. I must have clicked on it or you know, paused or something. But for a game called Brands Against Mundanity, have you seen that?
Oh, no.
It's a bit like, you know, the card game Cards Against Humanity. I think it's a bit like that, but it's basically the advert is a load of, I don't know if they're real, but they're sort of amusing tweets from brands. Like there was the courier company UPS or forget which one it was, saying if you're looking for 2021, we left it with your neighbour or something, you know. I mean, that's a really poor a poor remembrance of that, but that sort of thing, that's interesting stuff. I mean, I think from the web guys' point of view, I think when we use humour, it works quite well, and I like the ones. I mean, Ben, you do these for us, so this is a bit weird. But I mean, I like the ones that sort of almost show that we identify with the sort of day-to-day issues faced by our customers. And that's, I think that's a translatable concept, isn't it, for most businesses? It's kind of just, not just showing that you're a person behind the business, but showing that you understand the needs and the frustrations, and maybe building some humor around that, the frustrations of your client base, of your customer base. So,
like I said, particularly within the last 12 months, with everything that's gone on, it's then there's more screen time for people, because, like I say, you're either at home or in isolation, or however it is that way. So then it's, again, you want that mixture of, yes, it's, exactly what you're talking about. Like, from your point of view, you're going to get a top quality website. You've got that support and backup behind it, but at the same time, you want that bit of entertainment, or that link to it that is within what you do within a digital arena. But again, like you say, it's then identifying that you're a business at the end of the day as well.
Yeah. And I think, as you know, we've recently been sort of homing in on the concept of our support, and the fact that we are real people at this end who hopefully know what we're talking about. And we did a bit of a post about the number of support Zoom calls that I did in January, which I can't even remember the number. It was about 70 or something. And that that's great. I'm sounding like we're going to start blowing I'm going to start blowing our own trumpet now, which is not the intention at all. So, Ben, I don't, unless anybody else has got any other questions. This turned more into a sort of like a Clubhouse discussion. If you're not aware of Clubhouse, attendees, it's a new social media app that is basically audio discussions. And Brian, who couldn't make it today, sadly, is a massive fan of Clubhouse. And I think is he hosting a Clubhouse?
Yeah, with Bart on.
It's
Monday.
with Bart. Hi.
Yeah.
Well, I can see Marianne is in the audience, so you know all about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's Monday at 5:00.
Great. I shall be there as well. That sounds really interesting. I was a bit skeptical about Clubhouse to start with. I've got to admit, I didn't really get it, but if you dive in, it's all sorts of interesting stuff on there.
Brian keeps badgering me because I'm Android.
I see.
So he messages me quite regularly saying, have you bought an iPhone yet? Have you got an iPhone, Ben? Yet? Are you going to buy an iPhone?
Right.
So I think I might have to give in and.
I'd forgotten that. Yeah, it's iOS only, isn't it? Yeah. I'm sure that'll change soon.
I'd have thought so, yeah. But I might have to give in soon, I think.
Was it Elon Musk who said who gave it a sort of unexpected boost, or was that something else I'm thinking of? Probably. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Ben, look, thank you very much. That's been absolutely brilliant, and thanks to everybody for attending. I hope you found it interesting. We do these once a month with a variety of topics. I'm not sure what the next one is. Ben, do you know?
Yeah, it's Andy. Andy, who's on the call now. So it's Andy Liam is the next one.
Hi, Andy. Brilliant. I'll see you next month. Fantastic. Great. Okay. Well, I'll cut it off now then. And thanks to everybody for attending. Ben, thanks again. And see everybody soon. Have a good day and have a good weekend.
Okay. Thank you very much, John.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.